Welcome everybody, this is Mike Klingler. Today I'm going to review Unifii, Real Freedom, Real Simple. I am not publicly promoting this. I'm just giving a review. Somebody had asked me to review this in our group. Check into this channel, subscribe to this channel, and look at the link below for more reviews on different programs. Help you understand risk. I'm going to be talking about the risk of Unifii right now and things that you want to consider, SEC compliance, all kinds of stuff. And also, if you check out the link below, you'll see a lead in to a system that allows us to generate leads and cryptocurrency commissions. So check that out after the video if you're interested. Okay, so let's look at Unifii. Some really specific things I want to cover for those of you that might be looking at this program. Understand that what I'm about to share doesn't mean that I'm saying negative things about Unifii or that you shouldn't do Unifii. And that's not the approach that I take with this. I want to make sure that people are more educated about these kinds of things and how to assess risk. I've been in the networking industry for over 20 some years. After about 10 years full time, I moved into online internet marketing systems. A lot of you know me from 2008, 2011. I was a super affiliate. Then I moved away from all of the networking stuff, but moved back into it when crypto kicked in, and I made a lot of mistakes because cryptocurrency changed the game, made it a little bit more confusing to decipher risk, but I learned a lot through that process. And because of the years of experience and then making some of those mistakes in crypto, with referral type, affiliate commission type programs early on, I've been able to decipher, okay, and I met with the SEC. I spent a lot of time with the SEC discussing with them what their issues are with with what they're looking for as far as compliance and so forth. So there's some issues with Unifii I want to talk about with you. Doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. That's your decision. But I want you to know this stuff, and I want to help people be able to make better decisions with eyes wide open about what's going on. So I'm going to go over this. There's actually a lot of really good things about it. I just have a concern with SEC compliance. I'm going to talk about that. I know they address it, but the way that they address it does not satisfy at least one of the state's enforcement officers for the SEC that I was speaking to, which is the state of Washington, and based on how other states responded to some of the similar issues that Washington had, I would assume that other states would have a major issue with this too. That doesn't mean I won't promote it in the future if my concerns are addressed, but at this present time, let me talk to you about why that's a concern, and also just go over some of the things, because there's a lot of positives about this too. Now again, this is in pre-launch, so it's not even available yet. I'm going to talk about some of the risks of getting involved with programs that aren't launched yet. So even if you're watching this video much later, if you're excited about opportunities that come along that are in their pre-launch stage and they're not even launched yet, it gives you an opportunity to join for free, and you think there's a lot of opportunity there, you're right, there is, if it all works out the way you think it will. But I want to talk a little bit about the risk of getting involved with pre-launch opportunities that are free to sign up in as well. So hopefully this will be really valuable for you. In fact, I know it will. If if you're planning to be really successful in the industry, this stuff is really important to be able to kind of factor in when you're making your decision. So okay, so here are the different products that Unifii product line consists of. Again, none of them are available at the time that I'm recording this, which is I believe this is May 25th, 2018. At this time, they're saying that they're going to launch in June. I don't think that that's firm, but that's the goal for them, to launch the products and everything. Right now, again, they're not charging for people to come in, but people are kind of placing people in a structure and placing people underneath people and so forth. Kind of common with a lot of these programs to do kind of a pre-launch like that, where it's free to join and people are placing people, because it builds a lot of excitement, of course, and so forth. But again, I'm going to talk about some of the risks of that. It's obvious to see the opportunity of that, but what are the risks of doing something like that? Okay, so Prosperity U, it's kind of like an educational platform to help people understand cryptocurrency better. Sounds like a fantastic plan. Layout looks really simple. The daily signals and the live signals are a major issue with the SEC based on my discussions with an enforcement officer at the SEC for over a month. Really nuanced, detailed discussion, back and forth questions. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. So why is it an issue, and how do they think that they address it, and why am I still skeptical that that addresses it? And what does that all mean? Does that mean you shouldn't do it? No, that's your choice. But what does it all mean in terms of risk and so forth? And then the altcoin. So for those that don't know, a daily signal is when an organization or somebody is sending you notification every day of their suggestions of what you could consider purchasing in terms of, in this case, cryptocurrency. It could also be in stocks. Live signals are something that's going out to you immediately. In their case, they're saying they'll send it out via the iPhone. Again, these services aren't available at the time that I'm recording this, but it's supposed to be out in June. And then the altcoin report, helping you make good picks for cryptocurrencies that haven't really made it big yet, that it's going to help you kind of assess which ones to choose. And I don't know if it's actually naming them or if it's just helping you know how to select them. Maybe it's specifically naming them, but the goal there is to help inform people so that they can make good decisions about altcoins that could later do extraordinarily well. Now, the more general educational stuff, depending on how general that is, the SEC may not have a big issue with that. The daily signals and the live signals, I know from my discussions that they would consider anyone who's promoting that, marketing that, and making compensation for that back, they would consider that to be financial advice or a financial service or financial information, and you would therefore need to be a financial planner or be licensed in some way because it's a financial service. Again, this is based off of intense, detailed, nuanced discussions with an SEC enforcement officer at the state of Washington that I'm picking this up. So while a lot of people think that they're safe and protected from traditional, conventional issues with the SEC because it's cryptocurrency, that's not always the case. Again, that doesn't mean you shouldn't. I'm not saying you should not do this because of that. I'm just informing you with, based on my experience, and I've got a lot of experience, including making a lot of mistakes, which led me to have these kinds of discussions with the SEC. I feel like this is important to know. Now let's read their disclaimer. By the way, just because you have a disclaimer that addresses it doesn't mean that people can be marketing it and receiving referral commissions. It says Unifii Corporation delivers trade strategy signals, alerts, research, analysis, and convenient tools that are sent to subscribing members via email, mobile phone, and website member access. There's no customization. So this is why they think they're safe. There's no customization, review, or consultation of the member's personal financial objective, situation, or need. But that, in the SEC's mind, doesn't necessarily exclude them from the issue just because it's not customized. In fact, it could be even a bigger red flag to the SEC because people could be coming in. What the SEC wants to do is really protect people, and that's why they have this whole system that they have set up of financial planners need to be registered, brokers need to be licensed before selling a security. I don't think that this would be considered a security. I could be wrong, but from my understanding, again, I'm not a lawyer, by the way. I'm not an attorney, so you should definitely seek legal advice before making any decision. I'm just simply sharing with you what I picked up from my really detailed discussions with the SEC. I don't think that this would be a security from what I was told, but I do very much think that they would consider it financial advice, because you're literally suggesting or putting in front of people information that implies that they would do well by buying it. In fact, I'm going to talk about that too. They even give like financial models of how well you would have done if you'd taken their advice, even though they're not launched yet. I'm not sure. I guess people have been kind of testing it behind the scenes or what have you. And so they're referring to success that you would have had with their product, what money you would have made or returns you would have made. And this is what the SEC is looking for. This is the concern the SEC has. It says Unifii is not a registered investment advisor, so this is where they think they're avoiding the issue or the concern, and does not provide professional financial investment advice. But just saying that doesn't appease the SEC. So again, my take on it, for those that are interested, in my opinion, it's not a legal opinion and this isn't legal advice, but based on the experience that I've had, because there's so little helpful advice out there, in my discussions with the SEC, I would immediately be concerned with them wanting us to be financial advisors before we could ever make money. Now, you could refer people to stuff all day long. People have asked me, Mike, you've referred me to signals before. Yeah, but I don't get compensated for it. That's the difference. I have not referred anybody to signals that I get compensated on because I would be concerned of this issue. There's lots of things that I could do to make all kinds of money, much, just incredibly easily, uh, but I choose not to because of these concerns. So that doesn't mean you shouldn't do this, and I have to hold myself to a higher standard than maybe a lot of people do. I've already, been through the learning of promoting things that, led me to have to talk to the SEC and figure these things out. So I'm going to be, more cautious than maybe some of you choose to be. These are your choices. Speak to a legal advisor, a financial advisor. If you want, advice on these things, I'm not giving you advice. I'm telling you from my experience, my personal opinion is that that's a real concern, and that's why I wouldn't promote this publicly yet, unless those concerns were addressed, which in the future they may be. Now, I have shared this because it's free to sign up, and because I'm going to keep researching it. I have shared this with what I call my first level communications list. These are really close knit people, but not as a promotion, more as kind of a heads up that this is available. And in case I learn that this is something that we can promote down the road, months from now, I'd want them to already be launched. I'd want them to already have the product out. I'm going to talk a little bit about the risk of getting involved with pre-launches, for those of you that get excited about that, because it's exciting, right? Be able to sign up something for free, refer others for free. A lot of excitement around that. Then when it launches, you already got this big network going. But there are some challenges with that too I want to talk about. Before we do, let me talk about the other concerns here, where they're giving these exact models with these numbers. You might say, oh, well, they have a disclaimer. These aren't promises. These aren't guarantees. They're just illustrations. But these are the kinds of things that the SEC told me that they have an issue with. So I just want you to know that. That's what they told me. It's giving these models with exact amounts and saying if you had bought Bitcoin or crypto between a certain date, and it labeled it like period A, without their signals, they're saying here's what you would have made. And I'm not going to go into the detail of it. It's in their presentation on their site. And then it said, and here's what you would have made if you had taken us up on our signals, if you would have followed through on what we told you to do. And it's giving very specific things like percent gain, 426.3%. This is what the SEC specifically told me they don't like to see. And it makes it very difficult to market something like this. And that's what the whole point is the SEC represents a group of people that want to own the business of selling anything related to helping people make profits. And they got this whole network, and they have like classes, and they have like licensing, and they got terms, and they got the financial planners, and they got all these laws, and each state has its own laws. They're very similar, and they want to own that market. Now crypto comes along and says, oh, we're not money, we don't need to follow those rules, and I bought into that because there were some legal opinions many months ago that I was looking at that said that. And this is like, for 6 months ago. So I got involved with some things thinking crypto didn't have to follow some of those rules. And then bam, the SEC slapped down cease and desist orders to those companies and wiped those companies out. And it hurt a lot of people. So these are the kinds of things that happen in a developing industry. But the responsible thing to do, and what I did, was then go speak to the SEC and spend a lot of time doing so, an incredible amount of time, and learned these nuances. And it's still, a lot of it's unclear, but some things are very, very clear. And I'm certain if you put this in front of the SEC enforcement officer from Washington State that I was speaking to, he would immediately take issue with it. Like, this is black and white to them. So, some of you might want to be mavericks and fight them on that kind of stuff and think that you can win. And maybe the company will never get large enough wherever it comes to that. But isn't the whole goal that the company would grow and would get large? And if so, what would the response be of these different states? I'm telling you right now that as things stand now, and from the conversation I had with the enforcement officer at the SEC office in Tacoma, Washington, they would not be happy with this. These specific amounts, they would see it, they wouldn't call it guaranteed, but they would say you're implying that you would make these returns. And again, you would at least need to be licensed to be able to sell and make money from presenting this kind of information. And here goes a little bit deeper about live signals. And again, it's just showing really specific like percent gains. And it doesn't matter if they say These are just examples. These are just illustrative purposes. The results you get may be different. I don't know if he did say that in the presentation. You could listen to it. But even if he did, it doesn't matter. It's the fact that they're using these models at all. That's where it's definitely going to trigger the SEC as things stand right now. So I want to talk a little about the compensation plan in a minute, because I do want to give a thorough review of this. What I just shared doesn't mean you shouldn't do this. If you want to do this, do it. But understand that if you have a conversation with Washington State SEC officers, they're going to have issues with this, and I'm sure FTC might as well. FTC kind of regulates something different with these compensation plans, but when you're showing the more the compensation plan side, the marketing side, and kind of the impression you're giving people, I'm going to show you, talk about that now in a moment. You're going to run into that stuff with this organization. Now, they might change and adapt. They're very early, and laws might change and adapt. But that's where it stands right now from my experience with the SEC of the state of Washington. Doesn't mean you shouldn't choose to do it. That's not what I'm telling you to do. In fact, I'm going to keep my eye on it, because one thing that's really advantageous about this is if what I just referenced wasn't an issue, I think if there's really a need for education, and while there's other opportunities out there with education, it seems like they're really keeping it simple. They're structuring the pricing and everything in such a way that would be a great introductory point for people coming into crypto. So if I come to learn that the SEC is not going to take issue with this, and that the company is really doing its job and its due diligence, not just saying they are, but I need to really see that, then, I could very much be interested in incorporating this into our system. For those that don't know, we have a system that generates cryptocurrency commissions, and I'm always looking at adding, new programs and so forth, if I know they meet certain criteria. So I'll be having my eye on this one, but those are my concerns right now. Compensation, it looks like the cost is $279.95, but you don't have to pay for those that join right now in May. Again, I'm not going to give you my link below to this. The link that I have below this video is for our system that's more bigger picture, like those that want to learn how to generate leads, or not even learn how, but just use our system to generate leads, develop cryptocurrency commissions, and be able to have access to information like this. It's more educational at the same time about the bigger picture of what's happening in the industry, of affiliate commissions and referral marketing with cryptocurrency. Feel free to come in under our system, and maybe you'll want to generate leads as well. I do the marketing for you. I encourage you to do your own marketing on top of it, but I'm going to show you how to generate leads and give you the marketing to actually start doing so using the system. So it's a pretty powerful system. I may add this to that system if I feel that these concerns are addressed, and after it launches. I mentioned at the beginning of this, I wanted to talk about the risk of getting involved with something that's not launched yet. While it's very attractive, I'm not saying not to. I'm not saying not to do something in a pre-launch. I want you to understand the risks involved is all. So when you get involved with a pre-launch and you sign up with something for free and you get to start referring people, it's really easy, creates a lot of excitement because everyone gets to sign up for free. But the challenge with that is that's where all your focus and energy is at, or at least that's where some of your focus and energy is at, and it's where the people you're bringing in's energy is at. And if you don't preface things well, then everyone get really excited about something like that. Months down the road, if something like that didn't launch, you just lost all this time. And that's why, like, when I set up the system the way I did, we're generating leads, it plugs people into really sustainable methods of generating cryptocurrency commissions, and then we can add these kinds of programs when we see that the risk levels drop down. Like I would rate this at extreme risk because it's not launched yet. The products, besides the SEC concerns that I mentioned, it's not launched yet, the product's not out, the compensation plan's not paying, and so anything could happen between now and the day they launch. Again, doesn't mean you shouldn't do it, but that's the risk that you take. Let me just explain this a little bit differently. If I were to jump from program to program in these pre-launches, which a lot of people in my situation would do, it's very easy to get a lot of people going, and one of them sticks, one of them takes off, and I make a lot of money because it went. And it's very easy for someone with a lot of leads, which is what my system shows you how to do, get a lot of leads. But the problem is a lot of them don't make it. A lot of them don't make it. And I'm not saying this one won't, but I'm saying a lot of them don't. So you got to be careful. You got to be mindful of that you're taking that risk. And then those that do make it, you have to ask yourself, of those organizations and programs that started with a pre-launch that was free to join and did all that, how many of them are still here a year later? Obviously not very many. And so it creates a very transient experience where you're jumping around from program to program. We know these types of people, right? Maybe you're one of them. And it's just very difficult. A few people have done it to really get at the top of the mountain, so to speak. And it kind of creates this, from the outside, from outsiders looking in, it creates that kind of like culture that a lot of people don't want to have anything to do with. Now, I'm not saying I will never do that, but it would, if I did do it, it would prevent me from building longer lasting relationships with people, uh, with as large of a number of people that I'm able to now, by creating a system like I have and supporting people with helping them do the marketing, generate the leads, and creating this structure, this organization. We're able to build a network that grows and compounds over time, no matter what programs die or what have you, because the system stays alive. If I was jumping from program to program, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't be looking for that sustainable, longer term success for everybody. I would just be looking for the next big thing. And so that's why I'm really careful and cautious before I enter into something like that, because I don't want to create that culture around me. Doesn't mean you don't have to. It doesn't mean that's what you're even trying to do. Maybe it's just something you found for the first time. It's your first pre-launch you've ever done. I just want you to think about these kinds of things and realize that there is a lot of value in making sure that the programs that you get with are going to last. Now, on the flip side, there's a lot of risk, like in a pre-launch program that isn't launched yet. There's also the potential for great reward. So you weigh all that out and you make your decisions. I just want you to kind of see everything that's in play and see the big picture. And so, for example, how does this help you? Well, it allows you to communicate to the people you might be referring people into about this. How do you communicate it to them? When you tell them that, hey, here's something, we don't know if it's going to launch, but here's reasons why I like it. Here are some concerns I have about it. And you're educated about these kinds of things, it creates a different relationship with the people you're bringing in. And you might even say, I have this other program or this system where, we are generating cryptocurrency commissions now that are launched now. But here's one that's launching. We don't know where it's going to go, but hey, we might want to incorporate it into this system later, or it might be something that you want to do. It's free to join now, but just know that you probably don't want to put all your focus there because we don't know if it's going to launch yet. Then you basically get to grow that, but still have like a certain level of integrity in that relationship with the people that you're referring in, and they see that you're educating them as you're helping them in. It fosters this different culture. This is how you move yourself out of jumping from program to program and never really hitting it big, and really building like leadership around you, and kind of protecting the people that you're bringing in too, for them to not have these illusions of grandeur about something, and they put all this energy and excitement into it, or they don't really focus on anything else, and then if it doesn't go through, they feel defeated. Let me talk about the compensation plan, and then I'm going to circle back around to what I was just talking about, because I don't know if I have a slide for it, but when you refer people into this, they don't actually pay anything yet because it's in pre-launch at the time that I'm recording this, but it shows how much money you could be making. And it creates a lot of illusion. There's nothing wrong with them doing that per se. FTC might have some issues with it, but by then the pre-launch will be over. But it just creates this kind of illusion, because obviously if nobody's paying anything yet, just because you're signing people up, it doesn't mean you're getting those commissions. It doesn't mean they're going to pay when it launches. In fact, most of them won't. So things to keep in mind. Let's go over the compensation plan. So one of them is a bonus that's derived from the $279.95 sign-up fee. Here are the 5 different levels and the referral rewards. So, not bad, kind of your typical unilevel plan. And then they've got a matrix. I'm not going to go over the details of it, but just want to give you the skinny on it. 3x9 matrix. But it's not a force matrix, which I think is actually kind of cool. You get to place people where you want to under that matrix to help your team out. So that's pretty cool. So you can see when it's free to sign up, why a lot of people will be really excited. And I just want you to see the risk of that if you're not seeing the bigger picture and communicating that bigger picture and communicating some of the risks beforehand with your teams. And if you refer 10 new affiliates, you get a new position in the matrix. So let's say you referred 10 new people, it'll put another spot underneath you here, so you can start building underneath that, and it's paying additional commissions on top of that and helping the people that position was placed under. Again, we don't need to go too much into detail on the compensation plan right now. I don't want this to be a really long video. They've also got a matrix matching bonus, which just all that means is extra commissions they're paying to those who are leaders that have developed a larger organization. So right now, and the comp plan looks cool. I mean, for those in the industry, it looks cool. But right now, you can imagine why there'd be a lot of people wanting to sign people up for free. It's free, so there's no obligation. And people are placing people underneath them. You could see how this would create a lot of early excitement. My concern is, and I'm not saying that they shouldn't do it, that's not where I'm at with it. I just want you to think about these kinds of things, and you decide what it means for you. My concern is in the back office, when you refer people, it shows the amount of money you would make if they had paid, but that just shows the money amount, so it looks really exciting. And it kind of creates this illusion that when it launches and it opens, everyone you've referred and everyone they've referred and so on is going to actually pay. And that just is not going to be how it works out. And so what that can do is it can get people really excited and create a lot of momentum and growth before they actually launch, before anyone's actually paid anything or received any value at all. And again, they may not launch, they may not actually ever launch. They probably will, but they may not, first of all. And when they don't, if you don't communicate things well, you're taking a big risk with those relationships. Now, let's say they do launch, great, everyone's be really excited, but only a percentage of the people that you referred and that they referred are going to buy. So the amount that it said that you were going to make, obviously that's going to go away, and it's going to be a much smaller amount, and that's fine. But I want you to be keeping these things in mind. The problem is people are getting really excited, and so all their energy is going there. And if you don't have a system in place that's allowing you to keep building something that's paying you now while you do something like this on the side, and if you're not communicating openly about the risks and educating people through it, you're really setting yourself up to not ever be able to build a large organization long term that allows for those significant results that you're really looking for that translates into freedom. So I want you to just keep those things in mind. Going to the site here real quick, there was a clip I wanted you to listen to, and then I just want to talk a little bit more about the risk. So listen carefully to this.
The most difficult
This is their presentation.
Time to make money is when markets are tumbling, like they did from January 2018 to April 30th, 2018. But with the right information, during these volatile times, within small price peaks and valleys lie profits. As a reminder, during this time, Bitcoin lost 32.58% of its value. But if you had been following our live signals during this same time frame, you would have made 78 trades, where 76.9% were winners, turning a $10,000 portfolio into $25,720. That's a whopping 157% profit in just 4 months.
Okay, so even though he's saying if, and there can be disclaimers, and it could be emphasized for illustrative purposes, which I don't think he actually does, but maybe he does, I don't recall. But it wouldn't matter, is my point. Because he's giving these really specific examples, the SEC is going to take issue. First of all, again, the SEC in Washington State, which I know is similar to Hawaii's concerns, I think South Carolina, Texas, even more strict. And these are just the states that raised their hand and started communicating about it. It doesn't mean all the states won't agree with where those states are at. So if you would have communicated to Washington State SEC like I did, you would realize that that's a black and white issue, like for sure. Where they're at right now, we can't make money marketing this without running into issues. Does that mean that this company is going to get big enough or that ever becomes a problem? No, but isn't that the goal? We want the company to get big enough that it's in the spotlight, because then we're successful with it. So that's one thing. Does that mean you shouldn't promote it even in light of that risk? No, you can take those risks. I just want you to understand the risks. And that's why I wouldn't incorporate this into our system just yet, but I am keeping my eye on it. I am keeping my eye on it because maybe those will be addressed. Companies hasn't even launched yet. Maybe their marketing will shift a little bit. Maybe they'll temper it down a little bit. And maybe I'll learn that something has changed with the SEC or there's some new nuance precedent that's been formed. And maybe it won't be black and white, but it'll be presented to me where I feel that the risk is worth it. If that happens, I'll communicate that, and we'll incorporate this into our system and make it our second first-tier system. For those that don't know, in our system, we have first-tier programs that we feel are solid, that pay affiliate commissions in cryptocurrency or that are in and around related to cryptocurrency. And then we have second-tier programs that are like Binance, Ledger Wallet, like really solid, just second-tier affiliate programs. And the system helps you generate those cryptocurrency commissions so you can build your portfolio, buy more Bitcoin when Bitcoin's down, buy more altcoin on the dips using the cryptocurrency commissions that the system's generating. And maybe we'll incorporate this in. As of right now, I'm keeping my eye on it. I'm not telling you to do it or not do it. I just wanted to do this kind of big picture view and look at some specific concerns that I personally would have based on my conversation with Washington State Enforcement Officer at the SEC, which went on for over a month. I mean, we're talking a really detailed, nuanced discussion. Okay, so your choice. Oh, and this was the other concern I had. I referred a couple people in here. This isn't me promoting it. This is me sharing it with team members in case we decide to launch it. So these are people like already on my team. We're not actually promoting it to the public yet. These are really close-knit team members. And we're looking at here, it's saying $160 that I made and $512. This is my current month. But that's not true. The people I referred didn't pay anything yet. I didn't pay anything yet. This isn't real yet. And I promise you the FTC would have an issue with this. By then, it will probably be, before the FTC ever takes a look at this, it'll probably be down and gone. But these are the kinds of things that I assure you the FTC doesn't like to see. Does that mean it shouldn't be employed? I'm not anyone's advisor. I'm just telling you that this isn't real. But that's not clear here. It says weekly referral bonus commission estimate. So the word estimate is what they're relying on. But this is the kind of stuff that, they'll consider misleading. Does that mean that it's bad that they did it? No. But just eyes wide open, guys. Eyes wide open. So I've got this on my watch list. They cleaned some of these things up, which I assume they would after they launch. And if I get those concerns addressed, we might incorporate this into our system and add it to our first-tier commission programs. We only have one first-tier commission program right now, and I thought it would be quite some time before I added one. If those issues were addressed, I think this is an awesome program for educating people on crypto. The signals, it sounds like, I spoke to somebody who's tested them, doing very well, getting great results. If that's true, or I should say consistent, because I believe the guy that's testing it, I know it was true for him, but if that stayed consistent and the education's good, fantastic lead-in and introduction to cryptocurrency for people that are new to it, if we can market it without the SEC being concerned. Again, that's my perspective. You have to make your own decisions. If you're interested in more videos like this, be sure to subscribe to this channel, join our network. We have lots of channels where you might find a video like this or someone doing commentary on a video like this that are in our network. If you click on a link below this video and you get an email and my name isn't associated with it at all, somebody just kind of ripped off my video, probably not somebody you want to follow or trust. So make sure if you opt into something from a link that's underneath this video, you'll know they're in our network if the email you get has my name somewhere in there. You might say my team member's name, but my name would be somewhere in there. And again, my name's Mike Klingler. Feel free to come on in, take a look at our system, and who knows, if we get these things addressed, maybe we'll be adding Unifii to our cryptocurrency lead generation system. Get those issues addressed. If I get those addressed, I would love to. I think it's a fantastic program other than those concerns. All right, guys. Hope this was helpful to you. Be sure to subscribe to the channel and opt into our system if you want more reviews just like this. Talk to you later.